Hi, Laser. Thanks for coming on the show.
Hi, Dallas. Thank you for having me.
I am excited to dive in because I just feel like so many coaches I know, they're passionate about their business or about helping people, maybe not passionate about the business part, actually.
Yeah.
And then there's these other interests and other passions, and sometimes there's friction there. So I think we're going to address that today. So I look forward to that conversation. I appreciate you bringing it forward.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Of course. So before we dive in, how's it going? How's it going inside the club for you?
Really well inside the club. As you know, I just did my first client surge launch. And so I got a bunch of new clients. I have a very full calendar right now, which is awesome. And it was all thanks to a couple of the club members who helped me do some, as you instructed them to help me do some test sales calls. So yeah, I'm very, vibing very thankfully, gratefully on the club right now. So
Okay. So we're ticking the box around clients. You're busy,
yes.
right? You're getting more comfortable selling. So that all sounds good. What do you want to focus on in our conversation today?
Yes. So I know that the next step is leveling up and marketing to a bigger group to grow the list. I guess my main issue is that I also am in a band, which is how this all started, right? I help other musicians and artists grow their audience and run crowdfunding campaigns.
Yeah.
But I also have my own band and we're writing a musical and it's really awesome. And part of it is that's just I'm balancing both of those things right now, but I don't have like infinite time. And another part of it is that it just kind of feels weird to me to be I have like a negative brain. I'll just let it talk. So, but like to like shilling my business into other people. Like I consciously know that my coaching is really valuable, but I see other people who are musicians who are selling coaching and it feels gross to me. So I just have a lot of feelings about it.
Okay. So it doesn't feel, there's something about the marketing piece that just doesn't feel aligned for you.
Exactly.
Okay. So is it true that the next step in your business is scaling up?
Yes.
Why?
I would like to, if I keep doing this coaching, I would like it to be more lucrative. I would like it to be slightly more, less high touch, like fewer one-on-one clients and more like of the group stuff. Or even like a club kind of situation. And my program is a course right now, so people could do that self-directed. They don't, so I need to be there somehow. Because musicians, they have a lot going on. But I would like to be able to serve more people at a time so that I can get paid more and also so that it can I don't know, reach more people. That's the goal.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. The reason I asked was, and maybe I'm just projecting, but I find even in my own business, sometimes I have a certain goal that doesn't belong to me.
Okay.
Right. Like, oh, well, I'm at this phase. So shouldn't I? So the next step is obviously that thing when actually I don't give two shits about that thing.
That's interesting. Yeah. I mean, that's really interesting, Dallas. I guess it's the next part of the club. So I'm supposed to do it, first of all. Dallas said. But also, I think it would be nice to have, I think it would be nice to have a way to grow my list. Like the list has been growing in various kind of ad hoc ways. And the list has also been a really big part of like half of my new clients came from my email list.
Yes.
But I don't have a way that is currently growing quickly enough that when I launch my list, my program again in October, that it's going to be enough new people, I think, to fill my program again, even if I'm going with the same number of clients and not expanding.
Okay. So I heard two things. The first one is, no, I've given this thought. I want to make more money in my business. I want to be able to help more people without necessarily only working one-on-one or in an intimate setting. My knowledge can support that. So you've thought through that piece. It's not only because it's the next module inside the program.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's you've definitely planted a seed there for sure, Dallas, because I don't think my program is a self-directed class, but I do think that there is a less high touch version than now, and I think that like instead of having two, like I have two small groups right now, having like 3 or 4 would be really nice.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Okay, I hear that. I just want to, it's just easy to be a good student and suddenly find yourself on the path of like toward an objective that isn't really yours. So I wanted to check in on that. But so what I'm understanding is there is a desire to generate more revenue in the business. There is a desire to help more people and also have perhaps more ease in filling your programs.
Yeah.
And that comes with a bigger list.
That's definitely true. Yes.
Yeah. We see it inside the club. People who launch and then launch again, and the numbers are less. I ask, well, has your list grown since you last launched? And the answer is usually no. So, okay. So how clear are you on what you want the scaling up part of your business to look like?
That is not as clear as it could be. I will say that. Like I feel like I have a billion ideas for programs and how I could change mine, but at the same time I'm like, this program is great and it works and I don't need to change it. Like I kind of hear you saying that a lot, like, what if it's not broke, why do you keep changing things? So this program works really well for people and I don't know that I need to change the actual content of it. I'm wondering if like instead of every week, it's every other week. I think that honestly, that's a really good idea because people are getting overwhelmed with the amount of homework that they have.
Completely. Yeah.
I think that would help them and me. And I think it's not self-paced right now. It's semesters. And I think that's smart because it gets people moving right through it, although having like a little self-paced section. So yeah, the answer is I'm not super clear.
Well, so it sounds like number one, all of the creativity you might want to put into redesigning the content of the program can be funneled toward your marketing.
Yeah.
And there might be some structural pieces to shift as you scale, like giving people more breath between lessons is the smartest thing any coach can do.
Yeah.
I've said this inside the club, but back when I worked with actors, I had this signature program. It was 8 weeks long. Week 6 was nothing, no calls, no homework, no nothing. And that was in the graduation survey. That was everybody's favorite week, which I don't know what that says about my program, but they needed the space, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I asked the question about like, what does it look like? Because I wanted to know, would getting more clear on the shape of a scaled program make the marketing easier? And I don't know that that's a necessary first step. I think we need to dig into the emotional block you have around the unsexy work of building your list.
Yeah, I'm really clear on the transformation that I give, and the audience is very clear to me. And I think that there are so many people who could use the program that don't do it. Like so many people come to me that have like gone the wrong way. That's like the other reason that I have to do it is just like I know I can help people, so that I have to do it.
Yes. Okay. So why don't we talk about the skeeziness of musicians teaching other musicians, right?
Yeah.
How to make money on Kickstarter. So let the part of you that gets turned off when you see other musicians doing that, give that part of you the microphone right now. What does that part of you have to say?
Yeah, I mean, I started watching and like getting really into everybody's marketing at the beginning of my coaching
Mm-hmm.
journey. And it's just a lot of people who are musicians who are less successful musicians than I am in terms of what I consider success. That's it doesn't matter what success is, but like who are, and that's not always the case, but like and then selling systems that I don't feel like work for a lot of people, but of like, let's do a bunch of Facebook ads, let's do a bunch of this kind of stuff, and then like if it doesn't work for people, what I've heard from my clients who've gone through those programs, like if it doesn't work, they just kind of like, well, and then abandon them. It's like, well, that's too bad. Like I it there's just a lot of like, I'm on email lists and I get an email every week, and every week the email is like salesy. Like it's always a sale, and there's always like there's a lot of cross promotion emails
Yep.
of like, you've got to buy this sync program and you got to buy this thing, and I never trust it. It just feels like they're looking for money. And it doesn't feel like they're trying to help people. It feels like they're looking for money. And that may not be the case. I mean, I'm sure they're super nice people, but that's just their perspective I get. And then the really terrible part of my mind is like, well, if you were a truly successful musician, you'd be making music, not teaching classes, right? Because like teaching classes is way more lucrative than making music. But if you had the secret to teaching, to making music lucrative, then you'd be doing that. I don't know.
Yeah.
I have weird, I don't think any of this is helpful, but I think it's helpful to let it out.
Yes. And let's just get really clear. None of this is weird. Hi, it's nice to meet you, human.
Yeah.
Right. This is normal. Right.
Okay. Yeah.
Maybe the weird people are the ones who don't have moments where they question.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So can you think of a successful musician who's ever taught?
Oh, yeah. Lots of successful musicians teach things. Yes. Okay. Yeah, I hear you. Uh-huh.
So I don't know. I think that we could have this whole conversation could be digging into some deep inner work, and maybe we'll go there, but let's just look at it. Let's let our rational mind look at it, and then we can let the emotional mind follow where it wants to. The people who are salesy have an audience.
Yeah.
There are people on their list who love that kind of messaging, who love, wow, there are these 3 experts I trust and they're always promoting each other. And to me, what that means is I found the 3 best.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah,
they have their audience. So it's okay if you are not their audience, but there's nothing wrong with what they're doing. They're just speaking to a different type of person.
Yeah.
So instead of holding back out of fear of being lumped into that category, my invitation is for you to step forward with more courage and take an even stronger stance in your own marketing. That way, the people who can really benefit from your approach, they're going to see and hear that and respond. But they can't respond if there's no invitation.
Yes. Okay. I love it. What does that look like?
No, this is where you come in. So what does that look like?
I asked first. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And
that makes sense.
Actually, why don't I share what it looks like for me, so we have a little bit more of a concrete framework instead of me just saying words that sound inspiring. So
yeah.
So
I mean, no, I agree, but yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So in practice, the first step for me is to get really clear on what is it that I value, what results do I value for my clients? So that's the thing that air quotes here, I'm selling.
Okay.
And I don't mean a 6-figure business because we're raking in the dough, right? There's all of these other reasons why 6 figures matters to the members of the club, right? So, and that's what I talk about. So that's the first step. What are the actual tangible benefits that I value about my process?
Okay.
What's wrong with my industry?
Mm-hmm.
And can I take a stance around that? And then what energy do I want to ride on when I'm selling or giving invitations? That last one should feel kind of uncomfortable because usually our answer, we're coaches. So I would like to ride on the energy of just helping people and giving it all away. That's what I would like to do.
Yeah.
But really first getting clear on like, what's my stance here when it comes to the work that I do and the industry that I'm in? And then when you're selling, if it rides on that stance, the energy is just different.
Yeah. Okay. Yes.
So, question number 1.
Yeah. Yes.
When you look at the results that your students and clients get applying your process, what aspects of those results are the ones that are meaningful to you?
Putting out their art without waiting to get permission.
Mm-hmm.
A deep connection with their audience, where everybody is getting and giving, and like they get to know each other. It's really lovely. Finding their own voice and being able to apply that everywhere. So not just in their art, but also like on social media. So they feel like they're communicating authentically.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Being able to move on and make the next thing. Not being afraid to put something out and not just, there's so many people are stuck because they feel like they have to wait and they're just waiting for something to be finished. It's so much of what we deal with is just like, now we can move forward. Now we can climb. Now we can move on. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Making art without waiting for permission.
Yeah.
Is that a principle you in your own artistic life live by?
Yes, absolutely.
Big time, right?
Yeah.
Creating a deep connection with your audience where everybody's giving and receiving. Is that something you in your art live by?
Yes.
Yes. You're rolling your eyes at me. You're like, I see where this is
No,
going.
you're doing this and it's making me cry already. I'm like, yeah, you tricked me. Yeah.
Owning your voice and applying it everywhere. Are you doing that?
Yeah.
Completely. Moving on and making the next thing.
Yeah.
Are you doing that?
Well, right now I'm having trouble with it, but yes.
But you're in it.
Yeah.
Right. And there's a difference. Sometimes the next thing takes longer than we might hope, but you're in it.
Yeah. Exactly.
Right. Mm-hmm. Okay. So there is, from what we just established, is that there is no misalignment between what you're selling and how you live your life.
No. Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right.
What else do we need to discuss in order for you to give yourself permission to express your business voice fully in the same way that you express your artistic voice?
Yeah, that really helps, I have to say. I think the thing that is in my head right now is like, but how do I do that? Like, what are the like actual, because I've had like a specific accounts for my social media accounts for my business. And then I was just like, this is not genuine because it's only me talking about this, and I need to collapse it into my regular accounts, but I don't know how to bring people into those, I guess, and express that to them. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm just going to back it up.
Yeah.
I think that the fear around being inauthentic, if we look at what's true, it would be one thing if you were selling these results and not living by them.
Yeah.
Right. But this idea that those who can't teach, we've just proven that to be garbage because
Yeah.
you do this every day, and there's therefore no better person to teach it.
Yeah, that's a good point, Dallas.
Good.
That makes me feel better. Yeah.
So wherever you need to put that reminder, right? We've got the 4 pillars of your process. Making art without waiting for permission, living in a deep connection with your audience where everyone's giving and receiving, owning your voice and applying it everywhere, and moving on to make the next thing. That is what you laser stand for.
Yeah.
Right? And just embody it. And now that also gets to be the content that guides the themes that guide the content you put out, and also the themes that guide the way that you sell.
Yeah.
So now we can get into the how a little bit.
Yeah.
Step number 1, we got to close any account that is just for
Great.
fundraising business laser. People aren't following those accounts.
No.
Right? Nobody's going to hire you because your process is so brilliant. They're going to hire you because you are brilliant.
Okay. So just they're gone.
Yep. If you wanted to, you could, let's be a little bit strategic about it. Perhaps you pick a 3-day window where you post every day for 3 days. Heads up, we're moving, right? Come follow me over here, right? And I believe in making art without permission. So so you need to come and see where I create my art.
Yep.
Right? Day 2, I believe in a deep connection with your audience. So please come follow me over here. This is where the action is happening. Okay. And then we can just, when we say close them down, you just turn them off so that people who find them accidentally know where to then go and find the real you.
Great.
Okay. Does that all feel clear enough to be actionable?
Absolutely. I might keep the Facebook one just in case I need ads someday, but yeah.
Yeah. Keep them all. So just disable them essentially. And by disable, I mean stop posting there so that everyone who sees the most recent post, that post tells people where to go and find you.
Great. Okay. That makes sense. Perfect.
Okay, great. So now number 2. Is number 2 a list building conversation?
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? Okay. So when you think about building your list, if you could pick any of the suggestions inside the club around list building, is there one strategy that feels most aligned or exciting for you?
I have not had success with lead magnets really, with here's a free guide or whatever. I'm thinking about doing some sort of video, like a webinar kind of for a lead magnet, because I think teaching a class basically would be helpful. And it would, but I don't know where to promote the class. So I'm like, I think maybe I go to cross promote it with other people, but that's where I'm kind of like at right now.
Okay, great. So having let's call it an intro class.
Great.
Okay. Having an intro class as a lead magnet, that has always, I think it's a rock solid lead magnet because it leans into experiential marketing.
Okay.
Right. So instead of a 10-step checklist on your Kickstarter campaign, that doesn't give me the experience of working with you at all.
Yeah.
But an intro class really gives me the laser experience.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think that's a really smart idea. I will also say that the easiest lead magnet I've ever used in terms of fun to create, but also like an easy yes for subscribers has been to create a quiz.
Oh, yeah.
So we could talk about that if you wanted to, but I just want to kind of, and we can also put a pin in it if you really want to do a class as your first lead magnet.
Yeah, I think I've thought about quizzes, but I don't remember what the ideas were yet at this moment. I think a quiz is a good idea, though.
Okay. I think a quiz, there are possible pitfalls to quizzes, which is everybody wants to take a quiz and find out about themselves. So you can end up with a lot of riffraff on your list, but then it's your content that helps the right people unsubscribe, right? Or stop following. But in terms of just a low barrier to entry lead magnet, if the goal truly is getting more names on your list, a quiz is a really great way to go. So let's put a pin in what the lead magnet looks like for a second and talk about the strategy to share your lead magnet, and then we can loop back around to what's the best lead magnet.
Great.
Okay. So I heard you say cross promotion, and I almost wanted to laugh because we talked earlier about people in your industry
I know.
promote in a way who cross promote, and it's gross.
Yeah.
So what if you took on the assignment of thinking creatively about referral partners who are not so on the nose?
Yeah.
I'm just thinking about inside the Six Figure Coach Club, there are so many coaches who serve creatives.
Yeah.
Who then know creatives. So maybe that could, and I think for you, the most important thing is that these are people with aligned values and aligned business practices.
Yeah.
So could you challenge yourself to make a list of a dozen?
Yeah. People.
Aligned services.
Yeah.
And maybe we can call them audience adjacent, right? Who may not be so niche that they serve musicians who want to do a fundraising campaign, but people who serve artists.
Yeah. How many did you say? 18?
I said 12.
12. Great. 18 it is. 12 sounds good. Okay, cool. Yeah. Yeah. I could try. That sounds great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I know that's part of the class that like lead magnet swap and stuff. It just, something about that just feels weird to me, and I don't know why.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. So if we deconstructed it to pinpoint what feels weird so we know what to fix.
Yes.
What is it?
I think it feels really coachy. And I feel like
oh my gosh, totally. Yes.
Yeah. And I guess like before I joined the club, I did like a bunch of the webinar. Like I was just like, what is everybody else doing? A webinar and the lead magnet, and like none of that worked for me. And people join my newsletter my pages that just say like, hey, join my newsletter convert way higher than my pages that are like, hey, here's a lead magnet. Like, I think that like stuff that feels more just like direct works better for me. And so like things that are like feel like an extra step, just something about that is like, okay, but we'll try it.
No, we won't try it because it all needs to feel aligned.
Yeah.
Here's why. I'm all about habits. None of this works if you're not consistent. And if there's something on your list that you don't like doing, the odds of being consistent are next to none.
Yeah.
And I like what you said. It's like, maybe what if I just didn't play any games and didn't make people jump through any extra hoops?
Yeah.
So would you be open then to doing, I'm nervous to say cross promotion, but so you have a list of 12 aligned services promoting their thing or promoting their newsletter or promoting their Instagram account? Like, is there a compromise we could make that would feel aligned and exciting for you? If first of all, just having a lead magnet doesn't seem to be aligned, but also then the lead magnet swaps.
Yeah. I guess the thing that I will say, the thing that is more exciting, and I think this is in your class too, is like speaking at stuff, right? Like being a guest speaker and teaching, which is not cross promotion. I realize I said cross promotion, but like I've done stuff like that before and that has worked. But I don't know how to do, I guess I do kind of, it feels like a big step. And a lot of work, but I think it would be worth it. So that feels more aligned to me, just like showing up and being like, hi to this music alumni association or something, and being like, I'm going to teach you some stuff.
Yes. I'd like to come and guest teach a class to your audience.
Yeah. That feels more aligned to me, but also like more work. But yeah,
if it's work you like doing,
yeah,
right? Like promoting a lead magnet that you don't believe in sure sounds like a lot of work.
yeah, that's true.
Okay, let's break down the process.
Okay.
So step 1 is still to have a list
Yeah.
of aligned services.
Mm-hmm.
Step 2 is to create your class.
Yeah.
How can I help you with that?
I mean, my idea is I can teach a mini version, and I have taught a mini version of my, like, that's like the best audience. Like, what does your audience need to be? So it's the ideal crowdfunding audience is one version of the class. The other class that I think I'm kind of excited about teaching is 35 music videos you can make for $35 or less, because a lot of my class is making people start making content and like get over themselves.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people are just like, well, I can't make a music video. And I think trying to go and be like, you can make a music video. Here are 35 videos that I have made for basically nothing. And then the end of that is like, if you want to know what to do with these to actually grow your audience, I can help.
Yeah.
Does that make sense as a pitch?
It does. It does.
Yeah.
Is your so think about the people who just enrolled in your program.
Yeah.
Are they solution aware that music videos are like even connected to crowdfunding? Like, are they bought in to that solution?
It's a good question, Dallas. My current students. So what I got from my Spark interviews was that the language is way more around true fans than it is around crowdfunding. Like a lot of people they don't even know that they want crowdfunding. And that was one of my big problems before, is like pitching. Like, if people know they want crowdfunding, I'm an extremely easy sell. But a lot of people don't know that they want that. They just want a bigger audience and some money.
Yeah.
Can
Can we just do a commercial break for the Spark interviews?
Yeah.
They're so good. I love. It's just, and it's so obvious. Of course, we're supposed to talk to our audience, and we forget, or I forget, right? And then, yeah. Okay. Now we're back.
Yeah. So they just want to find the audience that's looking for them.
Yes. Yeah.
So maybe that's the class, how to find the
class.
audience that's looking for you.
Yes.
Okay. But so my 35, it's a freebie, right? It's the add-on. It's the fast action bonus or something like that.
Yeah, for sure. So what we want to think about, if you're guest teaching, it's highly likely that you will not be invited to pitch at these,
right, of course, yeah,
at these events. So the goal is audience building, to use your language, but also list building.
Yeah.
So you'll want to think about, what resource do I share with people in order to get them out of Zoom and on my list? And so honestly, if you're guest teaching, I think the smartest, air quotes here, lead magnet that accompanies a guest teaching event is your class outline.
Yeah, like your slides or whatever. Yeah,
your slides, or even your bullet points, a Google Doc. You can make it really easy. But structurally, what that would look like is, hey, everybody, I'm Laser. Here's what I'm teaching you today. Before we even get started, everybody pull out your phone, right? I want to give you the notes to this class, so you don't miss a thing. And then you have them opt in to your list that way. Okay. So, and I do recommend saying that at the beginning as well as at the end. Otherwise, it's like great content and people feel so inspired that they're distracted from actually taking the next steps and opting in.
Yes. I'm so good at mailing list building for my band, Dallas. I'm so good at it, and I'm so bad at it for this. It's so funny. It's
How
great.
is it different?
I don't know.
It's not. So,
it's not.
okay.
Yeah. But like everything you're saying, I'm like, yeah, that's what you do at a show. It's great. That's exactly it. Absolutely. And then, but I'm like, but I mean, some of it's different is because my coaching business has taken off during quarantine, right? So everything has been virtual, and my band has been, a lot of it has been online. It has been in person, so it's different in a way, but
not really. Okay.
not really.
Step number 1, we're closing your business social accounts. Step
Great.
number 2, we're throwing away the idea of a lead magnet that does not land for you.
Great.
Step number 3, we have a list of aligned services where you can offer to guest teach.
Great.
The list builder, when you're guest teaching, is just your class notes.
Great.
You're such a pro at what you do. Do you need any feedback or need to talk through at all the structure of the guest class?
I don't know. Is it different than a webinar, or is it?
No.
I mean, it's just, yeah, I'm good at teaching, I think.
Yeah, I think so. The one thing I'm a little nervous about is that you're not so good at seeding or selling.
Yeah.
So perhaps check out the foolproof webinar formula.
Yeah.
And I don't want you to get all coachy about it. Okay. But I do want you to look at, I can't remember which video number it is, but it's where I talk about the 6 S's. And one of the S's is seeding. So you can even ignore the other S's if they don't resonate for you, but listen closely to the seeding piece.
Okay.
Because if you do a great job of seeding, you don't have to sell.
Okay.
You get to the point where people, after you guest teach, are messaging you saying, how do I take your course?
Great.
Okay, great.
Sounds like a party.
So now our routine will be once a month, you're guest teaching.
Perfect.
When that feels graceful and easy, twice a month, you're guest teaching.
Okay.
It went from perfect to awkward.
Sounds like a lot. Great.
and
I'm
then
here
okay.
for it. Yeah. No, that's
And,
fine.
you know, let's not forget that you have your band and you're creating a musical and there's all of this other stuff. So it's okay if your business doesn't grow rapidly, Laser.
Okay. Okay. I appreciate that permission, actually. That helps. Yeah.
It's funny. I've just been noticing in my own business this year, my business looks exactly like what I want it to. So what am I trying to change? Like,
Yeah.
What if I could just be totally content and happy
Yeah.
with what it looks like instead of always looking for the next thing or putting this pressure on myself to grow? Like, why?
Yeah. Yeah. But that's a really good point. It really helps that I think that talking about my values aligning and with what my band does actually really helps a lot, because that gives me ideas of what I can be talking about too. So
Yeah.
I think I've always kept them separate, and that's so silly. And I think that that's, especially bringing the band more into the coaching content, I think would be great.
Well, it's going to erase that voice that says those who can't teach, because you can, right? Yeah. And then I also want you to, every time you guest teach, as part of the intro, talk about these 4 pillars, why you do what you do.
That's a good idea. Yeah.
That's how you find your people. The people who value those things are your perfect match clients and students.
Excellent.
All right, let's take a break. And then I want to come back and just add the next layer to this so that it feels sustainable and graceful and inspiring to you.
Wonderful.
Great. All right, we'll be right back. Okay, Laser, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling good. I feel like I already have a lot to do, so I'm really excited that it gets to keep going. I'm so happy.
Oh, okay. Okay, yeah. Good. All right, so let's pivot a little bit toward, if this aligns for you, it may not be where you want to go, but I am aware that I just said, great, anything that's too coachy or anything that we're teaching that doesn't work, throw it away. Mm-hmm. And I would love to hear from you. How do you know if you're throwing it away for the right reasons?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think it feels like my specific group of musicians
Yeah.
that work with me are people who at least some of them have gone through the super coachy programs and they haven't worked.
Yeah. Same.
And yeah, exactly. And so I kind of would like to demonstrate that I am a contrast from that.
Mm-hmm.
And I, I am a coach, and like I do serve that purpose in the class, and I'm here to like support people, but I'm cool. I'm not cool, but I'm a nerd, and I'm here to like be one-on-one with people. And I think I don't like, I'm very much about saying exactly what's happening.
Yep.
But then there's also the like using your language and like the client search stuff, or like adapting that to me pretty closely, really helped. I have to say, like trusting the Dallas path is a very smart thing to do. So I don't want to move too far away from it, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Yeah. Tell me if this would work, when we may just have to test it, but I wonder if it would be, all right, I'm learning X. So let's use lead magnet swaps as an example.
Okay.
All right. So lead magnet swaps. This feels like it's not quite me. I'm just aware of that. I'm not throwing it away. If I were taking this idea and applying it to my band, what would that look like? And then using that as the framework to then apply it back to your business.
That's really good.
I think
That's
that could
really
be
good.
the recipe.
That really unlocked something for me just now, actually, because we've been growing our list on Instagram recently, which is something I would never do for my business. But why wouldn't I do that for my business? That's so interesting.
It's the same.
It's the same.
It's the
Yeah.
same. And I feel like there's been somewhere inside of you where a curtain has been drawn. So I get to be creative and expressive and real in my marketing when it comes to the band, because I'm not marketing. I'm creating a deep connection with my audience where everyone's giving and receiving.
Yeah.
And then in the business, it's just like businessy and different and has to be strategic and can't be a love fest.
Yeah, I think it's like, because there are rules, right? And I think some of this was internalized before I joined the club, but like of how often you do the webinar, and then like you can share some information but not all the information, and like this stuff of like, okay, and how professional you have to seem, and how much information, and how you're always like the seating and stuff. And I think it just feels like a lot, but I don't think it has to be.
Well, it feels like a lot if it's not you. But
Yeah.
I would love to just see you take on this process with everything you learn about your business. Great.
Yeah.
How, if it's aligned, run with it. If not, how would I tweak this to apply to my band?
Yeah.
And how do I bring it back to my business? Because you're very good at marketing your band, because you don't think of it as marketing your band. And this is just you expressing, and it works. So why not apply that to your business?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't know why not, but yes, let's try it.
Great. Okay.
It's a very funny block that I have, and I appreciate you working with me on it.
Oh, it's always interesting, the rules we make up in our heads, and who knows how we got them or where they came from. But
Yeah. I mean, part of it is like always been that the band is not just me, and talking about just myself has always been weird for me. So that's an interesting block in my head. But
yeah, well, you're not talking about, okay, great, but what you're really talking about is art without permission, deep connection with your audience, owning your voice and applying it everywhere, and moving on to make the next thing. That's, you're not promoting your business. That's what you're promoting.
Yeah. That feels good.
Great. And you can't, would you ever, would the band ever perform without announcing the next show, the mailing list,
No.
Never.
Yeah.
Right? Okay, same.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. Yeah. This is coming together because I can see myself. I mean, it's really easy right now because it's a lot of like celebrating my clients and stuff. And that's great because that's a story that I can tell, but also talking about my own process of what I'm working on in the band is basically the process of the class. So that's something I can talk about as well.
Completely. And
Yeah.
just preaching about the
Mhm.
importance of making your art without waiting for permission,
Yeah.
right? That's a content pillar for you now.
Hmm.
Okay, great. All right, so you said this is starting to come together. So walk
Yeah.
us through how this is coming together and what it might look like for you moving forward.
I think, um, I think so. I think my big thing is going to be writing writing this class, hanging out with my sister's dog, who's very loud, and then finding some places to teach it is going to be a big step. But I have some ideas, and so I think just putting together a list will be one of my biggest next steps.
I can
Um,
think of 5 club members who
yeah.
would love to have you guest teach to their audiences
Oh, cool.
right off the
Awesome.
top of my head.
Great. Well, I'll go in the club too.
Yeah.
That sounds awesome. And then, that working on that is the next thing I want to
Mhm.
do. And then I think just making my socials more, um, I guess, instructive and celebratory of the things that I care about. I think I'm probably going to write those
Yeah.
pillars down somewhere big and remember to maybe like every week make sure to have something out about that.
Yeah. Or even just develop the practice of everything you're posting that isn't organic in the spur of the moment, like
Yeah.
baking zucchini bread kind of posts,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
Um, Asking yourself, which pillar does this connect to?
Oh, that's
Not
good.
because it has to, but just so that you strengthen the awareness of the fact that it is all usually connected back to one of these pillars.
Yeah, that's smart. I like that.
Great. Good.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to touch on today before we wrap up?
I don't think so. I feel good. I feel like I have a lot to do, and that was the goal. So good. I know what's
Good.
next. So that's nice.
Good. My big takeaways from our conversation, and then I'd love to hear yours.
Hmm.
Number one, when we really get clear on what's underneath the result, what really matters about the results our clients get, that can inform our entire marketing plan.
Yeah.
The other big one for me, Laser, was looking at areas of our lives where we have a track record or things feel easy, and using that as a template for other areas of our lives where things don't feel quite as easy or natural.
Yeah.
What about
Yeah.
you? Any takeaways?
I think getting a little bit of clarity on like making sure I want what my goal is
Yep.
helpful.
Mm-hmm.
Just kind of setting that intention more clearly is going to be a big goal. And then knowing how I feel about the coachy stuff and setting that boundary and making sure that I think I kind of needed to hear that in order to do marketing well, it needs to feel natural to me. And I think that that's going to be a really big help going forward. It's like, this doesn't feel right. Let's find a way to make it feel right.
Yeah. And there's a difference between this doesn't feel right, therefore I'm not doing it,
Mm-hmm.
and this doesn't feel right, let me dig a little deeper.
Yeah.
Great. Good.
Yeah.
Well, I enjoyed every moment of this conversation, and I'm so glad you came on the show today. Thank you.
Thank you, Dallas.
Yeah, you're welcome. And thank you to our listeners. We'll see you back here next week. Bye bye.